Now, India has forecast an abundant monsoon season for 2024. That means the country's rural economy could finally get the much-needed boost that it's been looking for post the pandemic. But India's monsoon is not just good news for the country's farmers, but also good news for you, the global consumer. Take a look at this next report to find out how that development could affect you.
India's eagerly anticipated monsoon forecast for 2024 promises above-average rainfall, offering a significant boost to the nation's agricultural productivity and overall economic outlook. The monsoon season is responsible for nearly 70% of India's annual rainfall. It is pivotal for sustaining crop growth and replenishing water reservoirs critical for agriculture. For Indian consumers, a favorable monsoon directly translates into stability and affordability of food prices. With agriculture accounting for a substantial portion of India's workforce and economy, a successful monsoon season means improved agricultural yields, lower food inflation, and increased disposable income, subsequently driving consumer spending across both rural and urban areas. The rural economy, heavily reliant on rain-fed agriculture, stands to benefit immensely from an abundant monsoon. Enhanced crop production not only augments rural incomes but also stimulates demand for goods and services, propelling economic growth in these regions. Additionally, a thriving agricultural sector has a cascading effect on allied industries such as logistics, food processing and retail, contributing to the broader economic landscape. Internationally, a prosperous monsoon in India has far-reaching implications. As one of the world's largest producers and exporters of agricultural commodities, India's increased output due to favorable rainfall supports global food supply chains and helps stabilize international commodity markets. A strong monsoon season in India is indeed good news for the world, promoting global food security and market stability. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world, and the only sector that has been lagging in growth is the rural economy. With a forecast of an abundant monsoon season, India could get another much needed boost to its robust economy. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
And now for more on this, we're being joined by Devendra Sharma, Distinguished Food and Trade Policy Analyst, award-winning Indian journalist, writer, thinker and researcher, live from Chandigarh. Welcome to World Business Watch.
Thank you.
Now, how does a good monsoon season in India affect the country's economy?
Well, besides being a feel-good factor, I think a good monsoon is what we all look forward to. And not only farmers, as you rightly mentioned in the beginning, that this is something which is going to impact livelihoods. This is going to impact countries' food security and also reduce their dependence on food imports. I think this is a combination which is, eagerly awaited every year. And I hope the forecast that the meteorological department has made now turns out to be true when it does the second kind of an estimate close to the monsoon season. So I guess so far it's a good indicator with the above normal rainfall predicted, and that too across the country. I only hope that the distribution is also normal, because sometimes what happens, the rainfall is normal, but or the predicted to be normal, but in many areas there is a drought, and the other areas there is a kind of a inundation or floods taking place. So I hope that the distribution is uniform, and that is something we aspire or look forward to. Look at especially Maharashtra. I just give an example. Farmers there are reeling under a drought, and many even orchardists have pulled out their plants or trees, and that is because of the severe drought the area is faced with. And if you look into past many successive years and so on, Maharashtra had faced a problem in one part, whereas there was a deluge in the other part. So I guess this time, if the rainfall is normal, as I said, uniform across the country, we will have, or we can look up to, a bountiful season.
Right, sir. Now, of course, you've touched on this, but I just wanted to understand, for better understanding here, I wanted clarity on two things. One, how do you think this will give India the Indian economy, the much needed boost that it has been waiting for post the pandemic, as well as what sort of an impact are we looking at when we talk about the global consumer as well as the domestic consumers as well?
Well, I think to answer your first question, let's be very clear that at this particular time, when the country's economic growth is heading towards, let's say, whatever 6-7% that we are talking about, the growth in agriculture is very, very low, 0.7%. And I think that tells us very clearly that agriculture is passing through a severe crisis. And we have seen in the last 2 years that a heat wave that struck at the time of the harvest 2 years back. And then, of course, last year we saw the monsoon, not performing as was expected. And there was a shortfall in the paddy growing season, as a result of which India had to also export or India had to impose a ban on the export of non-basmati rice and so on. So we have all kinds of bans, happening in this country for exports, and I think it is time to move out of that. And perhaps the bountiful monsoon will increase productivity and production both, and that is what the country requires. Somebody mentioned, or people think that it will increase farm incomes. Well, that's a debatable question, because we have seen whenever the production goes up, the prices crash. And unless we have a support mechanism of minimum support price being given to farmers, I don't see the possibility or probability of farm incomes going up the way it is visualized or the way it is imagined by people sitting in the cities. Having said that, to the international situation, I think any country, or a country like of the size of India, of course, is something that the world would like, that it is food secure on itself, or on its own domestic situation is such that it doesn't require the imports coming in a heavy quantity. I think that is what is more important, because if India is food secure, at least the pressure on international commodities to feed the population of India would reduce drastically. I'm only hoping that the government of India does not reduce the import duties on wheat. It has already done for pulses, but I hope it doesn't reduce the import duties on wheat, because the prices internationally are low at this time, and they're looking for a market, and India should not turn into a market for the cheaper wheat that is available. I think we need to focus on the income, farm welfare and farm incomes, because that is something which we require. If farmers are food secure, if farmers can produce a crop which is bountiful, not only farmers become food secure and income secure, I think more importantly, the nation also can breathe lightly, or can be happy that we are food secure. We don't depend on international food imports.
All right. Well, Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for joining us on World Business Watch with your insights on this.
Thank you.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.